those hipsters, I want dance.
I said, don't stop, don't stop, don't stop talking to me. Don't stop giving me things.
Hello and welcome to the Korean Grand Prix, guys. This is round number 14 of the F1 2013 Korean Mode Championship here in Yeongam. Hopefully I spelt that name right. I'm pretty terrible for pronunciations, but yeah, here we are for the Korean Grand Prix. I really like this track. It seems to suit my driving style. Once again, like the last track in the Singapore Grand Prix. So let's kick things off here with the third practice session of the weekend. Now, I set a banker time on the prime tyres, and I was fairly competitive with that. I topped the session with that, doing a 141.5, and now here we are at the very end of the session. I've put on a set of super soft tyres. I've bumped up the fuel into fast so I can get a really good qualifying like time in at the end of the session, and we can see what kind of benchmark we can aim for qualifying. So coming around the final bend and up to the straight to the finish line. And what time do we set? It's a 139.8. Absolutely smashing the field. 2.5 seconds faster than those guys. But they are, of course, on prime tyres and probably using a little bit more fuel and lower fuel revs. So that's not representative of the AI's pace for qualifying. So with that sort of time that we set in practice 3, you just assume that we made it into Q3, and we did. So I'm not going to bother with showing you guys the Q1 and Q2 laps, as we pretty much got into Q3 with just one set of prime tyres. So now I'm going to show you guys my fastest qualifying time from the third session, and I'm not going to do a commentary over this. I'm going to let you guys enjoy the gameplay, the game sound. So turn up the volume and enjoy this qualifying lap.
You're nearly out of fuel, almost out of fuel. You need to pit within the next 2 laps.
So there you have it, guys. That's a hot lap of Korea, and it was good enough to get me pole position in the end with a fairly decent lap. A few tiny little mistakes over the course of the lap, but it was enough to get me pole for this race, and it's the first pole position of my career. So that's an awesome achievement. I didn't expect it to get it by such a margin, 6/10 over the field, and the lap was pretty close to perfect. A few tiny little mistakes. But yeah, it just shows that if you get a really good lap in with the Sauber, you can really get it close to pole. But yeah, once again, wasn't expecting to get it by that much. But looking ahead to the race, and our pace looks very promising, so I'm hoping for a good result. Alright, so here we are on the grid for the Korean Grand Prix, starting from the front row. This is going to be something new for me, waiting for the 5 red lights to go out, and away we go straight up into fast. Let's try and get a nice little jump on Hamilton. It's a very short run to turn 1, so our bad start will be negated here, and we should be able to hold position, leaving a bit of room for Hamilton on the inside, and that allows us to get a nice drive and exit onto this massive straight here, using up most of our curves, and we're just pulling away from Hamilton, I think. Just trying to get out of the slipstream, just try and make sure that he doesn't get any tow, and we should be able to pull away fairly nicely. Coming up to turn 2 or 3, I'm not too sure. Take a late line in, and we lose the back end there on the curb. You don't want to touch that inside curb, it can really spin you out sometimes. And that's allowed Hamilton to catch up, so I'll need to put in some good laps here and just hope that it's enough to hold position over Hamilton. But we've run wide again at turn 3, which is a little bit frustrating, but we'll need to get our head down and build some kind of a margin, because I think the tyre wear might be a little bit of a factor around here. But if we look after our rear tyres, we should be okay. So now on lap 5, we pulled out a little bit of a margin, but now Vettel has caught up to the back of us as our tyre wear is starting to be a little bit of a factor here. And Vettel going up the inside into turn 1, he might give us DRS here. We've run wide on the exit, and that's really annoying because that's allowed Mark Webber to get through as well, and we've dropped from 1st to 3rd. But now I think we might have DRS here. We're using the slipstream as well, a bit of curves, and we should get back past Vettel up the inside, give a little bit of a nudge with the wall, but we get the lead back, and that's crucial for our race here. We just need track position right now as we head into the pit stop phase of the race. We'll be pitting at the end of this lap, and here we are cutting to the end of the lap. Look at our tyres, they're all pretty much brick red, so we're going to come in for our pit stop now. Mark Webber has opted to stay out, so he's going to try and overcut us, while Sebastian Vettel is going to come in at the same time. So Red Bull are trying to force my hand here, I suppose, trying alternate strategies, and it's going to be tough to hold them both off, but with a nice pit stop here, 3.2 seconds, that should be enough to give us time over Vettel. Coming out of the pit lane, hopefully there's no traffic. There's a massive gaggle of cars in the pit lane, and that seems to have helped my cause a little bit here. So with that, I'm able to undercut Webber, and that should allow me to hold track position for the rest of this race. And next lap, everyone else is coming in. Webber has come in as well, and we've jumped him by a mile. His in-lap must have been pretty terrible on those worn tyres, and that's allowed me to build a massive margin behind. I think it's about 3 or 4 seconds now. And cutting to the end of the race, nothing else really happened. I was able to maintain the gap. My pace on prime tyres was actually pretty good, and I was able to stretch out the lead to over 6 seconds. So coming across the line, we've taken our second win of the F1 2013 Career Mode Series, and we're really starting to make a fight for this championship.
Great drive. You dominated the whole weekend. Pole and the race win. Fantastic.
Thank you, engineer. It was a fairly good race in the end. We had a lot of pace this weekend, and we were pretty much unstoppable. So with this win, it sort of puts us in the championship picture. Of course, it's going to be a long haul from here if we want to win it, but only 78 points away. We're still in with a mathematical chance, and that's all we need. So if we can continue this kind of form into the future rounds, then who knows where we might end up. But that's been the Korean Grand Prix. Hope you've enjoyed it. Until the next episode, guys, I'll see you next time.